Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you guys are doing well. Summer is rapidly drawing to a close, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, and you know what that means. It means I've got to change out those 5 fragrances back there. Yeah, those ones that nobody pays attention to, I got to swap those out. But that's not the only thing that the changing of the seasons means. It also means it's time for a new seasonal top 10 list. And that's what I'm sharing with you today, my top 10 choices for fall 2024. So these are the fragrances that I'm personally looking forward to wearing the most this coming season. All the fragrances I talk to you about are going to be linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. And also, if you're on TikTok, if you love a little brain rot, follow me on there. Just Gents, pull me right up. I am actually posting content there now. Yeah. Giving into the dark side. Let's get it kicked off with an honorable mention, just one, and it's this Lalique Ombre Noir. The quality on this is fantastic for the price point. It smells absolutely amazing, but I will say, if you're a younger guy, you may not gravitate toward this one quite as much. It appeals a little bit more to guys middle-aged and older. Oh. This has cognac, tobacco, myrrh, cinnamon, and even fig leaf as some of the notes in the fragrance. And while it does have a little bit of sweetness, it's not overloaded and it's not sugary. Classy, sexy, and warm. It's perfect for an evening out in the middle of fall. So I wanted to include this one as an honorable mention because I think it does smell absolutely amazing. And I thought about just throwing this one along with number 10 and kind of doing a 2-for-1, but this is what I settled on. So Ombre Noir. It is maybe a little more of like a special occasion fragrance compared to a lot of the other ones, which is why it's right here. But if I did find myself in a special occasion, maybe I'd pick that over some of the others. Before we head to the next fragrance, guys, here are some codes that you can use to save yourself some money across a bunch of different websites, including discount codes for Max Aroma and JOMASHOP. The JOMASHOP codes only work on their app, not on the website. So download the app, add what you want, use those codes. Then of course we got those codes for Fragflex, the Perfume Box, Twisted Lily, and others. So use those to save yourself some cash. On to number 10. And number 10 is this one, Ferragamo Spicy Leather. Spicy leather is kind of a pain, not because of the fragrance itself. Fragrance itself is amazing. And actually not even because of the retail price. The retail price is not that bad. The reason it's kind of a pain is there's a lot of demand for it in the US as far as discounted prices go, but it's almost never available at discounters. Basically, it pops up at discounters and sells out like that. And that is not an exaggeration. Just the other day, Fragrance Buy had this one come into stock and it sold out, I think, within like 5-10 minutes. So yeah, that can be a bit frustrating because when it is in stock at discounters, it's usually like 60 bucks or something. And at 60 bucks, this is an absurd deal. That being said, as I mentioned before, even at full retail, it's not that bad. It's 112 at full retail. And in a world where we've got new fragrances coming out that for a 2-ounce size bottle, designer is at 180 bucks, I'll take it. So this has leather, saffron, citrus, black pepper, sandalwood, and nutmeg as some of the notes in the fragrance. And it has a really elegant, sweet, spicy mix off the top. And while this is definitely a leather-forward fragrance, which you would expect since it's named Spicy Leather after all, the leather is not animalic, it's not off-putting or anything like that. Just very masculine, elegant, sophisticated, with a little bit of an edge. Spicy Leather probably is the best Ferragamo fragrance in this line. And like I said, because of that, it can be hard to find for a discount. So keep your eyes open for it. If you see this one available, scoop it up. Number 9 is good old Versace Eros Parfum. This one's got notes of tonka, green apple, amber, mint, and lemon. And this one is a really super versatile fragrance that sometimes gets pigeonholed into being thought of as a clubbing scent. Definitely isn't. I mean, you could wear it to a club if you wanted to, but you can wear this just all over the place. Little bit more mature than Eros Eau de Toilette or Eau de Parfum, but it still has a playful edge to it. It has that sweetness that you would expect from an Eros fragrance. Big compliment puller, nice performance too. Even a lot of people who don't really like Eros Eau de Toilette will enjoy Eros Parfum because it is, like I said, just a little more elegant, a little bit more mature, and it is a 10 out of 10 as far as mass appeal goes. This stuff is a 10 out of 10. Massive compliment puller that you can wear all fall long, daytime or nighttime. You can adjust your sprays up or down to have this fit pretty much any place that you're gonna be. I think it's great. And number 8 is gonna be from another very large line of fragrances, Myself Le Parfum from Yves Saint Laurent. Now, the original Myself is just amazing for me. That stuff works really, really well. I can wear that pretty much anywhere, anytime, and know that people are gonna love how I smell. But it's the suit commercial where they say, "You're gonna love the way you look, I guarantee it." That's kind of Myself. You're gonna love the way you smell, I guarantee it, in the sense that wherever you go, people are gonna dig it. You don't have to think at all. You can just leave it on the corner of your desk, and in any situation, if you're like heading out and you got no time, you can just grab it, spray, and go. So the original Myself works really well for me. I've gotten a lot of use out of that, and Le Parfum follows up on that. So this has bourbon, vanilla, patchouli, orange blossom, amber, and pepper as some of the notes in the fragrance. And it's pretty much what you would expect of a Le Parfum flanker. You know, it takes the original Myself, that DNA, with the white florals very forward in the fragrance, that kind of clean laundry, clean sheets aspect from the original is carried over, but it's a little bit deeper and has a little more depth to it. Has additional sweetness from bourbon vanilla that's added in here, but it doesn't go like sugary or anything. At least not overly so. And so that maintains that versatility, that wearability. And with this one, I would say if you love the original, you'll probably love this one too. And even if you didn't really enjoy the original, you might actually like this one. Kind of like Eros Parfum, you know, that little tweak, that little change to the DNA can sometimes make it more appealing to people. And this one is really addictive. The more you smell this, the more you want to go in and wear it again and again and again. Really good stuff. Number 7 is a fragrance that I have loved ever since it came out, Lunar Rosa Black. Of course, this is from Prada, and to my own personal taste, this is my favorite in the Lunar Rosa line. It's not the most popular, that would be Lunar Rosa Ocean, but it's my favorite. Yeah, this stuff is fantastic. So this one has tonka, amber, angelica, bergamot, and patchouli as some of the notes in the fragrance. Reminds me a bit of some discontinued scents, Bulgari Black, Midnight in Paris from Van Cleef & Arpels, kind of in that style. And if you dig your nose down deep enough in there, you can get a little bit of that Lunar Rosa DNA, you know, like a smidge from Lunar Rosa Sport in here. A little bit powdery, but with a very appealing sweetness to it, even a touch rubbery. And I know that that doesn't sound good, but it smells amazing. Sexy, mysterious, dark with good wearability, Lunar Rosa Black is a staple for me. Before we move to the next one, I do want to say that there are probably going to be some fragrances left out here where you're going to go like, what about this? What about that? And I guarantee you, some of those fragrances where you would be like, what about that one, are gonna be in my winter list. Because fall, winter, a lot of times, you know, those fragrances overlap. As you get further into fall, I mean, you're wearing pretty much the same stuff that you would wear during the winter. And a lot of this stuff here, I'm gonna wear in winter also. So, just throwing that out there. All right, we're at number 6. That one's gonna be this one, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Parfum. And since we got a cool weather L'Homme Ideal this year, that means next year, it should be a warm weather one. Notes here, very simple. Amaretto, leather, musk, patchouli. That amaretto gives it a really appealing sweetness off the top, that almondy kind of sweetness with a touch of booze. Yeah. Great push to this one, great pop to it. You do have to like the L'Homme Ideal line, in my opinion, because this one is not super far removed from what was done with some of the earlier releases in the line. But if you enjoy fragrances like L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum, or Extreme, or L'Intense, then you'll probably very much enjoy this one as well, which I do. It even has a bit of that cherry type sweetness, which you can find in other L'Homme Ideal fragrances as well. Only drawback for this one, I would say, is the price point. It's not insane compared to some other things out there, but it ain't cheap. It's $175 retail. And you can't find this one at discounters all that often right now. You can also find that cherry sort of sweetness in here, that bit of fruity sweetness that you can find in other L'Homme Dior fragrances. You can find that here too, even though it's not an official note. Only real drawback, the price. Retail, $175. At discounters, it's still running about $125 when it's in stock. So it ain't cheap. That being said, it's good quality, great performance, smells awesome. We're now in the top 5, and kicking off the top 5, Armani Code Eau de Parfum, and this is with the caveat that it's the new Code Eau de Parfum. And that's of course because Armani is just kind of all over the place right now with their names and their presentation styles and reformulations and everything else. So I guess Code EDP 2024. This one includes notes of green mandarin, nutmeg, and tonka. And the reason I have to do the whole 2024 thing with this is because the original Code Eau de Parfum and the original bottle style and everything, that's been discontinued. So the name obviously stays the same, Code Eau de Parfum, but when they moved it into this bottle style, they changed the fragrance. They reformulated it. So this actually smells closer to Code Profumo, which is discontinued. Yeah, so it's a whole thing. If you get Code Eau de Parfum, but in the other bottle style, that fragrance smells different than Code Eau de Parfum smells now, because now Code Eau de Parfum doesn't smell like Code Eau de Parfum, it smells like Code Profumo. Got it? Good. That being said, I love Code Profumo. And also Code Absolu, which was kind of similar to Code Profumo, but still, this really well done, smells great. And I'm gonna wear this because it's gonna bring me back to those fragrances when they were in their heyday. Number 4 is this one right here, Reserve Privé in the Gentleman line. This one has notes of iris, chestnut, whiskey, and woods. Sounds good to me, and it smells good to me too. Whew, yeah, that stuff is fantastic. Now, Gentleman Society, both iterations of Gentleman Society smell good. I like them. But I like Reserve Privé more. The way that the creamy iris in here works with the woody notes and that boozy sweetness from the whiskey is out of control. It smells amazing. For people like me that love iris and fragrances, it's just absolutely stunning. But at the same time, it's not too much, so the iris doesn't wallop you over the head. Because there are some fragrances with that iris, which I love, that are really strong with like a lipsticky iris, and for a lot of people that can be kind of a turn off. And this gives you a bit of that. It gives you some, but not too much, at least in my opinion. It's a nice one, elegant, classy, sexy. Top 3, and these are some big ones. First one, Le Male Elixir. This is just one of my go-tos. When it starts to get chilly outside, this is something I can turn to over and over and over again. And where I own so much stuff, there aren't a lot of fragrances that I put a dent into. And this one is one. It's got vanilla, honey, tonka, tobacco, lavender, and mint as some of the notes in there. So some of those notes are gonna tie this in with the original Le Male. But then of course it's not as fresh as the original, and it has a much deeper, richer, sweeter aspect to it, scent profile to it. It's smooth with a touch of powder, but not all that much, just a little bit underneath everything. Perfect for a night out, perfect for a date, big attention grabber. It stands out in the best of ways. And the performance is there as well, just the right amount. You know, it's loud enough to get noticed, but unless you drench yourself in it, it's not so much that it becomes overbearing. Also, got to shout out Le Male Le Parfum. That stuff is amazing also. But for me, I'm going Elixir. Number 2, Born in Roma Intense. Vanilla, lavender, and vetiver, some of the notes in this one. And this is a fragrance that I think perfectly walks that line of sweetness. Oh, yeah, it's good. It's got a little aromatic touch to it, some woodiness underneath, of course, the vetiver. But then that vanilla, that's one of the focal points, or really the focal point. And I know some people would disagree and they would say, no, it's too sweet, but for me, it's just right. It's sweet enough that in the air, it's magnetic, draws attention, draws compliments, great performance, but it's not so sweet that it becomes a synthetic sugar bomb. You know, it's not super syrupy or anything like that, not overly bubblegummy. And I really think where it shines is in the air. As you move around, it's just absolutely addictive. It's one of those fragrances that people smell that and they want to smell it again and again and again. And when you're wearing it, you end up doing the same thing where you catch a whiff of it and you're just like trying to catch another whiff. Don't pay attention to me, this is normal. Absolutely fantastic, love this one. And for number 1, another Jean Paul Gaultier, it is Scandal Absolute. New fragrance for this year, and this is one that I've worn off and on a little bit since it came out, but I've been waiting for it to chill out, for the weather to get cool again, to start wearing this more. Note breakdown, super simple. Not a big fan of that, but what are you gonna do? Mirabelle Plum, Chestnut, Sandalwood, that's it. It's gonna remind you a little bit of the other Scandal fragrances, but less aromatic, a little more sweetness. You could also find some similarities to some other things out there, 1 Million Lucky, some of the Stronger With You fragrances, stuff like that. Ultimately though, it's doing its own thing and it smells amazing. The performance is great, the compliment factor is huge. You do have to like warm, sweet fragrances, but right now, that's the big seller. Like that's what most everybody's doing, so it makes sense that that's what this is. And to me, it also makes sense that they would take those original Scandal fragrances, which work great for me, by the way, work really well, but that they would take that style and then, you know, give it a little more warmth. And like I said, swap out some of the aromatics for a little more sweetness. It makes sense they would do that, and it works really well. So Scandal Absolute, that is my number 1. And like when I look at this right here, I legitimately love wearing every one of these. Don't really have enough time to wear all of them, you know, but this is what I want to be putting on this fall. So there we go, guys. There's my top 10. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Let me know in the comments what you're planning on wearing. Let me know what's caught your attention this year, what you're looking forward to wearing. Thank you so much. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.